So I'm driving around this morning and I was having a thought. And I was thinking about how lots of people say they want someone to hold space for them and what that actually means. And I was thinking in the most time I hear this from women, so I'm like, okay, they're like, I want you to hold space for me, and I'm like, what do you mean by that? So I was thinking about what that actually means, and it reminded me of something that I heard years ago, that men are electric and women are magnetic. So when a woman has a problem and she's like, I want you to hold space for me and I want you to listen to me and be accepting and things like that, she has a electric charge that she's trying to discharge. She's trying to get that off her chest, get rid of that and ground it. And if you're talking, if you have a circle of women, if you have, girlfriends or women family members that you're talking to, they already have that magnetic energy about them where they are balancing out between negative and positive, flowing naturally to create, a peace. So when you tell them, they're accepting of that energy and they ground as much of it as possible because that's where they're magnetic. That's what they do, and they circulate it. And that woman feels appreciated, and she feels heard, and she feels like, oh, you're here for me, and she is able to discharge that excess electricity and be at balance again. That's what she needs when she wants someone to hold space for her. Now, when you're talking to a man, men don't operate like that. We're electrical beings. So when you give us that excess electricity, you just charged our battery up. So now we're like, all right, all right, I heard the problem. So now I'm going to use my intellect to take this excess electricity and, through the path of least resistance, balance it out in the outer world, because that's how men operate. We're electrical beings. We look at the world, and depending on the makeup that we have within us, we are charged up or maybe depleted by our location and where we are. Um, so let's just say we're charged up by what we're seeing. We're motivated. We're like, I gotta fix this. I gotta repair this. I gotta do this. Solve this problem. Go here. Work out here. Do this. Achieve this. We're trying to. We're The environment that we're in is charging us up, and we're discharging that energy. So when we're handed a problem, we want to either get away from it, you know, path of least resistance, or, like either it's depleting us, so we want to get away from it, or it's charging us up. So we're like, all right, time to discharge this energy and fix this problem, create that balance. When a lightning strike happens, there's such a disparity in electricity in the environment that the lightning comes, boom, strikes, and then after that, it's balanced out again. That's what men do. So when a woman hands us, or women or anybody, but I'm using women and men as the groundwork for this. When a woman gives you a issue and she's like, I want you to hold space for me and I want you to balance this out with me, she doesn't want you to fix the problem in the outer world, because that's not what she needs. She needs someone to accept her, so that she knows that she's okay and cared for. That's not how men operate. Men are like, you just charged me up, so now I need to discharge and solve this problem. But the woman's like, no, stop trying to solve the problem. I'm like, but you're charging me up, so now I have to sit here with this energy that you just gave me and try to my hardest not to try and discharge it and solve the problem. And my whole time, my mind's like, this is stupid. Like, I'm like, my power is being wasted here. Like, why am I sitting here listening to this? Because I can't do anything with this. You just gave me a bunch of energy and told me not to do anything with it. It is going against everything that I am right now. And that's where I feel like there's a lack of understanding. Now, that is not to say that men are incapable of balancing out energy and holding space. We are, because Women are mainly magnetic, and men are mainly electric. But that doesn't mean that we're not also magnetic beings, and that doesn't mean that women aren't electric beings. We're both, but we're more so one than the other. Hence, this physical form. As a man, I am shaped differently, like to reflect the spiritual electric nature that I am. And women are shaped differently to reflect the magnetic spiritual nature that they are. Women are curvier as magnetic poles and waves go. Men are more straight line, zigzags, like an electric current. So that's just how we are naturally. We do have a piece of one in one in us, but we're mainly this. So that's what I'm going off of right now. Women are curvy, and you know how women, they do like this to just to this to describe a woman. And I found it interesting that is they usually do three, either two or three curves. I like to do for this understanding, I want to do three curves. One being the top of the head to the chest, which is the first magnetic field, the brain. Then boom, the chest to the womb, which is the heart space. And then boom, the next one, the womb to the ground. So you got the first magnetic field, the second magnetic field, and the third magnetic field. The first and the second, the first and the third, everyone has. Everyone's got that ground, like that South Pole and that North Pole. Women have that center area. Their heart space, they're born with their heart spaces open because they need to be able to create balance. They need to be able to balance out the two forces, the two poles, those two electric poles, the positive and the negative. They need to be able to balance that out in their heart space and open it up for people so that they feel accepted and that they can accept other people, because you need to birth an entire being through you. So you can't do that if your heart space isn't open. That soul, that energy will not be able to come through. So that's why the woman is born open like that. She has that magnetic field that allows her to accept and co-create life. Men don't have that. Men are positive, negative. They're not born with their heart spaces open. In my opinion, I would say that men are born with their heart spaces open, but not as open as women. We learn throughout our lives to open our heart spaces more, and that is indicative of our environment. Because if a man is made, like I firmly believe that the Creator made men to solve problems and protect. So a man is dictated by his environment. If he's born into a peaceful time, his heart space will be more open. If he's born into a more turbulent time, his heart space will not be as open, because he needs to come down here and lay down the law. And you can't do that by being accepting of everybody. No. If the world is a sinful and disastrous place, and the Most High sends some men down here with the light codes and the energy to be able to fix this problem outside here, they need to come down here and lay down the law, chop heads off, whatever they need to do, destroy stuff. They can't have their heart space open. That will wound them deeply. They need to be like, this is the law and this is what's going to happen. That's why in the Bible it says, oh, if this person commits this act, take them to the square and stone them to death. Because that's what they wrote down, because this person is upsetting the balance, and they are unrepentive and they will not change. So you can't keep them around. You have to exercise them and then stone them to death. And the women will be like, no, their heart spaces are open. They feel that person, like, we can change them, we can do this. Men are like, no. This is what the Most High said. Most High said, take them to the edge and stone them to death. So that's what we're going to do. And their heart spaces are not open to their suffering because they're not supposed to be. You can't be open to someone suffering and then inflict suffering on them. You're wounding yourself because you're attempting to ground and balance out that energy within yourself while you're doing that to someone else. You can't do that. You have to have that outside of yourself in order to not wound yourself. That's a whole nother conversation about warriors, about spiritual warriors, and how it's supposed to happen to prevent PTSD and stuff. And I'll have that talk another time. Ex-military, so that's something that I have really thought about. But I digress. So women are born with their heart spaces more open than men. Men are born with their heart spaces less open than women because we're here to lay down the law. So as far as holding space, it comes from a lack of understanding on both parts. Women don't understand that men aren't supposed to be like that. Like that is not, that has never been appropriate. Like, you're not supposed to be that open. We're supposed to be open, don't get me wrong, but not that open enough to give you all of what you need in that moment. You're supposed to have a circle of women in which you can do that with. Women, I like to think of, are like links in a chain. They are circles that interlock with each other and create a big circle of peace and protection and balance for everyone around that. They link up and are social and balance out the energy of, you have a neighborhood and all the women are talking to each other and balancing each other out. How it's supposed to work. This is how it's supposed to work, not how it is. And they all talk to each other, they share information, they balance out, and when they balance that energy out, it makes everyone better. They take good energy and they balance it out between each other. So now everyone's even better. They take that negative energy and they ground it and balance it out. So now everyone's not weighed down by that. They are able to do that in an environment, a village to raise a child. So all the children grow even more than what they would have grown because the women are contacting and protecting and creating that balance. And the men in that equation need to be protecting the women from all the outside stuff. So, no wild animals coming in and killing no one and causing causing destruction. No buildings collapsing, no wars, no nothing. We're supposed to be making sure all that stays on the outside, all that is handled on the outside so that peace can remain. And we're also supposed to take the energy that we find out there, bring it back and be like, hey, we found out this, and and women take it and they think about it and they combine it and they talk with each other and they come out with something. They birth something even greater than what we brought to them. And then that makes the society even better. And the children see that and they got that information from start to finish, from the electrical information that came in pieces to the creation of it to it now flourishing. They see that process and they have that code in them forever to pass down to their children that, oh, that's what it's supposed to be like. Okay, got it. And they grow even more because of that. That is how society is supposed to run as far as men and women are concerned when it is concerned with energy. How it is running right now is dysfunction at its finest. I'll go with one thing because it's something that I've dealt with for a while. When you have children that are born into a single mother home, and I was a part of a single mother home, so you can get at me if you want to. This is my experience, so you don't be like, oh, you can't say that, you can't. I've lived it, so cry me a river. A woman that is raising a family, it's kind of hot in here. A woman that is raising a family by herself without a man's assistance will be more electric than she's supposed to be, to be able to handle the things that and keep her space safe. That detrimentally affects the children because she's supposed to be a reflection to that little girl about how a true magnetic is supposed to be, taking everything in and balancing everything out. She can't do that because she has to generate that electricity in herself to be able to solve the problems out there. So she cannot be fully as magnetic as she should be. So that girl will never see what a true magnetic is supposed to look like. So she learns an amalgamation of what an electric is, what a true magnetic is supposed to be, not what it completely is. So she goes out in the world thinking that she is supposed to be more electric than she actually is. So if she ever meets a true electric, he's going to be like, what are you doing? Like, you're not supposed to do that. If he knows what she's supposed to be like, that's what he'll think. You're like, you sit down. You ain't supposed to do that. Relax. I got it. And she's gonna be like, no, this is what I was raised on. I don't understand why you're trying to stop me. It's like, because you're taking my job. Like, that's my job. You're supposed to be over here doing that. And then she's gonna be like, oh, you're trying to put me in a box. You're trying to do this. And he's like, no, this is the way I've seen it happen. Like, I don't understand why you got a problem with me doing this. Now, on the other hand, the male equation is not going to be as electric as he should be. He'll be more magnetic than he should be, and it'll be a what's the word I'm looking for? It'll be a dysfunctional magnetic. So how a male child should interact with his mother is she should be able to ground that energy that he has, so he feels accepted. He feels like his energy can flow naturally. He feels balanced. She has to be more electric than she should be, so she will never be able to balance him like he needs, because he will feel that balance, and then as soon as something happens, the electricity kicks in. So it's not a smooth. It's like a sparking current. Like if you just cut a wire, but you put them just far enough so that electricity can still travel, it's a spark. So he will have a disoriented. Dang it, the word I'm looking for is on the tip of my tongue, but I can't bring it out. But anyway, he'll have a disturbed, or I really need to. Anyone who knows what word I'm looking for, just comment, whatever. He'll have a disoriented view of what a magnetic is supposed to look like and feel like. So when he goes out into the world, he'll try to find that instead of what he actually needs, because he doesn't know any better. He'll be more magnetic than he should, because the electricity that she's providing, that he like leans on for teaching to show him how to solve problems and stuff that come up in their regular life, is not the full extent of what that electricity is capable of. And I'm going to say this, and I do not mean to offend anyone by saying this, but if you're offended, that's a personal problem. I can't lift 1,000 pounds. Someone coming up to me and saying that I can't lift 1,000 pounds doesn't offend me, because I know I can't. I know myself. So I'm not going to be like, oh, you don't know what I can do. I'm like, no, I know that I can't do that, or at least not right now. But yeah, I'm aware. I have self-awareness. So a woman cannot teach a man how to be a man. Period. End of discussion. Doesn't matter how hard you try. You can set a best example as you can, but it is impossible. A man cannot teach a woman how to be a woman. You can set the best example you can, but it is impossible for you to do. That information can only be transmitted from like. Period. End of discussion. Don't get with me, get with the Most High. That's why he created man and woman, and didn't just create one. He's created us to be a partnership when we're raising children. Not just, oh, the man will just impregnate the woman and then go off somewhere because he's no longer needed. Nope. Both parents are needed. End of discussion. I don't care how you feel about it. That is the way it is. So that male child will not be able to do either of those things to what they're supposed to be. He'll be too magnetic and he won't be enough electric. and he'll go through his life trying to figure out how to be more electric, and he'll draw on everything around him. If his environment is not good, then he will draw all those things in to charge himself up to be as electric as possible. So if the environment, if you grow up in the hood or something, the environment's not good and all the electric you see is dysfunctional, there we go, dysfunctional electric, then that's what he will be. But it also depends on the soul that comes, the soul that dwells within, the makeup of the man. If his makeup is different, then drastically different than his environment, he'll try and go out into his environment and be like, all right, I'm trying to be more electric. Then he'll back up and be like, whoa, this ain't what I'm supposed to be electric for. It's like Buddha when he was growing up. He was a royal, and they did like a fortune teller or something came in. I'm probably getting the story wrong, but fortune teller came in and basically like he'll either be a great leader and king or a great spiritual teacher, and those were the paths lined out before him. The soul that came back wanted to be a spiritual teacher. His father wanted him to be a great ruler, but when he was exposed to royalty and everything, and he was good. As soon as he got in touch with spirituality, that was it. He was like, that's like this royalty thing I can do, but that's what I'm really here for. And he followed the path of least resistance, straight on spirituality. So for a man that is growing up in a dysfunctional environment, he didn't get the electric that he's supposed to get from his father. His mother tried her best, but she's not a man, so she can't give him that full electric. He'll go out to the world. If he's vibrating on the same or close to the frequency of his environment, he'll follow the path of least resistance. But if he is drastically different, then he'll recoil and search. He'll be wandering and wandering, always searching until he finally finds, oh man, my phone stick it up, until he finally finds what he's looking for. And then he'll be going off in that direction. Those are the hood success stories where it's like, oh, you grew up in this area, but then he got his degree and became a physicist or something like that. That's because he came down here with a very specific mission. He didn't come down here to learn. Like everyone comes down here to learn, but he came down here with a primary mission that he needed to accomplish. So as everyone else is going out and trying to learn and figure out how to do this electric thing, he came down with a specific code. Hey, when you go down, you got to do this, and you won't be complete until you find it. Those ones are mainly your success stories of, oh, well, I raised my son as a single woman, and he turned out great. He's doing this, he's doing that. So that was more him than it was you. And like I said, if you get mad at me, don't get mad at me for that one, because that's something that my mother told me. Because I thanked her one day for the man I am, and she looked at me and said, that was more you than me, because I couldn't teach you everything you need to know. You did that. You made that happen. And it took me a while to figure it out. I'm like, no, you raised me and da-da-da. Nope. She was like, that was you. And I was like, I had to, give myself one of these and be like, yeah, okay, yeah, that was me. All right, I get that one. But so yes, that's it. And I'll speak on to women as much as I can, but as you see, I'm a man, so I won't be able to give the whole thing. As for a woman, she's always trying to balance that heart space area out. She's trying to balance that area out and figure out how to be more complete than she actually is. She comes down here with the codes that she's supposed to balance out something great. She's supposed to create something, an area or a program or something to balance out the destruction, the imbalance that's out here. She will get that disorientated, feminine from her mother, but then she'll go out into the world and be like, this doesn't feel right. I'm supposed to be more balanced as this. She'll search for something to balance her out, and when she finds it, she'll be whole. She'll be like, okay, Now I'm straightened up, flying right, I got it. And she'll finally balance herself out and heal those wounds from her childhood. As the same thing with a man, he'll finally be able to discharge that electricity and be able to heal those wounds from childhood to some degree, because he still needs to feel accepted, to know how that feels in his heart space, to be fully accepted and to have his electricity fully accepted. So he'll always be searching for that, but he'll be straight as far as manhood is concerned to a certain degree. He'll be straight as far as manhood is concerned because he found his purpose, and he'll be figuring out his purpose. But in his heart space, he'll still need that balanced out energy. He'll still need that feminine to come in and really dust him off and accept him. And then he'll be firmly whole. That usually happens when he gets married, starts family. Or if his mother, at a later date, when she doesn't have to be as masculine, as electric as she has been, can bring him in and be like, okay, come over here, accept him. And now he feels more and more complete in his heart. So now he can extend that to others. But those are my thoughts about the electric male and the magnetic woman that occurred to me while I was out driving this morning. So hope that enlightened some people. Hope that made some people think. Hope that brought some understanding to women and men as your interactions with each other. Because just because you need it doesn't mean you're supposed to get it from him. If I go to Wendy's and order a large pizza, they're gonna look at me like I'm stupid because I'm in the wrong place. Just because this is the place you ended up at doesn't mean that that's the place you're supposed to get that from. So don't ask your partner or friends for something that they have made abundantly clear they cannot give to you, and then be mad at them. Be mad at yourself because you're the one that's asking for something that they can't give to you. We need to learn ourselves. We need to learn how we operate on the most basic of levels, how men and women operate, how then we operate within that span of man or woman, whatever you are, so that we can truly understand ourselves and truly start affecting the world around us to make it better. Because right now it is very dysfunctional, and those of us that came down here with a mission, we gotta fix this place. Everyone that came down here to learn as much as you can and try to fix as much as you can within yourself. By doing that, it makes the process go much faster. Like, if there's a leader, a manager who has a mission that he needs to take care of, and then all the workers that are working, they need to do what they're paid to do. So the manager can easily guide everyone to where they need to go. So the people with the mission are the managers, and people that are here to learn are the workers. They're learning to be managers one day so they can get that overhead mission from the Most High and direct. It's like, okay, now it's your turn to direct everybody, but you need to learn how to work at this level and build yourself up so that you know what everyone below you is going through or has gone through, and then things like that. So please learn to understand yourselves, and so that you can understand another, and then understand a group of other people, and then a nation, the world. You build it up from the self outward. It doesn't go from outward to the self. That's not how it's supposed to go. It's supposed to go from in to out. But that's all I got. See y'all.